and well, hello there, Chick Chat. We're back with another Teen Mom. This is going to be episode 15 for us, but 30, I guess, for MTV.
Is it 30?
According to their season 2, but I feel like we're on season like 6.
Yeah, I agree.
They do those A-B seasons or whatever. It just don't feel real or natural. So,
not natural.
And we're going to start this off with Teen Mom Ryan, who's effectively now taking over Macy's spot, which, I mean, he has been for years. She hasn't had a storyline without Ryan since, what, Kyle?
Even then, I mean, it's Kyle Slow. That was the whole storyline for Kyle. So that was all Ryan.
Ryan's a star.
Even when she said that she was creating boundaries and stuff for Bentley, which I do think she did a really good job of protecting Bentley during the hard years with Ryan. Mm-hmm. All of the storyline on Teen Mom was still about Ryan or the absence of Ryan or the things that Ryan is doing that she's protecting Bentley from. So
that's why Mackenzie got so mad and wrote that letter.
Yeah.
Because everything that she would watch back would just be Macy talking about Ryan and crying about him.
True. So true. But here we are at a new baby for Ryan.
Yes, number 4.
Baby number 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. So Amanda's water broke at 1, and apparently an hour later she was ready to go.
Had a baby.
Mm-hmm. They named her Presley.
She was born at 6:21.
Yeah. So she wasn't in labor too long then.
Yeah, like 4 hours.
Not bad, not bad. Good time.
Sounds good to me.
Did you notice though in the hospital when they're showing Ryan, he's wearing that ring? Do you think that's like his band with Mackenzie? He's just reusing it, or is this a new band and he's already wearing a wedding band? I mean, what is? I was so confused because I'm like, imagine this concept. This is someone else's husband, technically having a baby with someone else that he's engaged to. They're both wearing wedding rings.
Yeah, and he's having a Gypsy Rose moment.
I know, isn't he?
All these storylines are really mashing together that we're covering last couple of weeks. Lots of pregnancies, lots of leaving people, still being married, just all kinds of things.
So much pregnancy in the content we cover right now. And it's not even intentional. Teen Mom is the only one that should be this saturated with it. But
yeah, well, such is life. But anyways, Bentley talking about having too many siblings, and I could agree.
Macy has 2 other ones than Bentley, and then Ryan has 3. So he's got about 5 siblings there. And then that's if you don't count the one that people think, that Mackenzie might have leaked might be true. But I've also heard Amanda claim that rumor is just a rumor, that it was made up by Mackenzie to be petty. But
I could see both things being possible. Don't know.
Stay tuned.
Yeah,
stay subscribed.
Stay subscribed. We'll let you know when we know.
We'll let you know. So Mimi, Jen, and Larry go over to Ryan's. She got a ton of flowers for this baby. Holy crap.
I know.
Wow.
I know. I think Ryan brought in most of those too. There was some footage of Ryan coming into the hospital room after the baby was born, and he had lots of flowers. I mean, he could have been bringing them in from other people, but yeah, I think Ryan's excited.
Well, Mimi Jen picked them up from the hospital, and that scene was so funny because they're just talking about, they're reminiscing with Ryan, asking him if this is different.
No, different.
This 4th kid.
Right,
and he's like, yeah, it is a little different. No, different. Amanda said, well, you're sober for this one. She's like, well, he was sober for Bentley. Well, he was young and stupid.
I know.
Loved it so much.
It was really funny. The way that she goes in on Ryan is so funny. Because, I mean, she's always quick to crack a joke, so I'm sure he's usually the butt of those jokes, but you can tell she really loves him and their little TikToks and stuff.
Yeah, I was dying with her and Larry talking here. Like, I'm like, this woman is tired, Larry. Help her open that damn container and leave her alone.
He's talking about getting back in the saddle. Does that mean what?
Yes.
Who says that?
I mean, Larry's like 60 something, so
she's got still bump going on, brand new fresh baby. You're already talking about back in the saddle and frozen.
Like she's just like, she's trying to
look at that face. She's looking at Mimi Jen like, get your man, Mimi Jen, and get him out of my home. He's talking about peas. Look, Mimi,
if he's gonna be a man in my house, he could at least help me open this damn container that she gives up on.
Isn't my man so funny?
That should be a talk that they have with Ryan about snipping, really. Like, you're done now, right, son? Don't they talk to everybody else about Ryan but Ryan?
I completely agree. Let this girl go to sleep.
She knows what just happened to her. She went through it. You need to talk to Ryan.
And he does need to do that. They're not wrong, but just not the right place or time or person. You guys got it all the way wrong there.
Yeah, they still technically have multiple weeks till they can even think about it. Babe's pretty fresh. He just picked her up.
Right. I don't think that's happening now unless he's really out here wilding out more than we thought.
This baby just got to its first home. The baby's just looking around, trying to figure out who everybody is.
And there's a lot of people to figure out for this baby.
The biggest brother is coming in for them to figure out right now.
So Bentley is going to meet his little sibling Presley for the first time. And of course, Macy comes over because she loves to sniff babies, which a lot of people like to sniff a baby.
I like how Ryan always talks to Macy. He's always asking her stupid questions. You like that, Macy? You like that baby smell? You won't have another one, Macy? He's always grilling her on something.
Yes, you're right. He does talk to her so strange. And then this is the camera footage that MTV has been wanting to see forever, except it's not Bentley's baby. It's Ryan's.
It don't need to be Bentley's baby. Bentley's walking in there with Larry's clothes on. Don't need to be his baby. I was in there wondering, like, how did Bentley acquire Larry's clothes to just wear?
Pretty close. Bentley used to part-time basically live over there, so I'm sure he's there quite a bit.
I guess, but that's just really funny that he's wearing his grandpa's clothes around. And when Ryan pointed it out, I'm like, that does look like a 60-year-old man's sweatpants.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I know. He goes, that's Papa's sweatshirt and his pants. But this is pretty cute. Oh.
It was cute. And she does look a lot like what I remember Bentley looking like when he was born. I mean, babies do kind of all look weird.
Yeah, they're all squishy.
But I do remember Bentley looking like that. So when Macy said, oh, well, looks like Bentley, I was like, that's what I was thinking.
I was thinking that too. And it must be just Ryan's genes. And Bentley looks so much like Ryan. They all sit around and get to know the new baby and reflect a little bit. I still can't get over the fact that these three adults in this room all went to high school together and we're talking about Bentley in science class or whatever.
Well, I think Ryan's a little bit older. I don't think he was actually in class with them.
No, not together, but they all went to high school together. I imagine that's how they met.
I thought Ryan was like 20 or 19 or 20, 21 when Macy got. I thought he met Macy at some motocross
21 when she was 16. I don't know about
Gary. That. Gary was 21 when Amber was 16 or 17. So, I mean, it's not like the MTV was looking past it.
I guess. Amber 17, though? Not that it's better. I'm not.
I think Ryan might have been 20. But I know he was older than Macy by a couple years.
Ryan's 37.
Macy's 33.
Macy's 33.
So, yeah, he's about 4 years older than her.
They would not have gone to high school together.
Her and hers was in high school together.
They were in high school together.
At one school. It wasn't a high school.
That's wherever Macy went to finish school. It was like an alternative school. I guess I just assumed that because they were young that they met in high school.
Most of them did, so it wasn't wrong.
They did four-wheelers and stuff together, but I don't know if that's how they met, I guess. They had to have talked about it.
I think they did in the first episode of 16 and Pregnant, I'm sure. Because I think she explains that he's older and everything.
It says they met in high school. Don't believe everything you read on the internet, people.
Maybe Ryan failed.
Possible because he didn't go to preschool.
Well, I never went to preschool. I know, and look, and I was prepared for kindergarten.
He turned out just fine. High school, preschool.
Well, I never went to preschool.
He didn't go to preschool.
He didn't go to preschool. So they pretty much wrap it up there. I mean, they talk a little bit about when Ryan first held Bentley. He was scared to death. It was the first time he ever held a child. And now here we are 16 years later. He's having a whole nother child. And I don't know if it was me, but at least twice they kept putting Bree's segments up against Ryan's segments. And Nova this episode had her little baby simulator going on. And I don't know, it just felt like a weird full circle moment to me for Ryan to have this real baby 16 years later when we're talking about Nova. These kids actually could have babies themselves. And here they are still having babies and Ryan's having this moment. I don't know. It felt kind of cool to see this for Ryan.
That was interesting. I noticed that.
I don't know if they did that on purpose, but it definitely felt on purpose.
It did. Macy does acknowledge that Ryan is definitely different now than he was when he was with her.
It's not different.
I mean, obviously, it's been 16 years, damn near 20 years ago, damn. But obviously, Ryan is more present because he is sober. But they don't mention Mackenzie and Jagger and Stella, but they kind of tiptoe around them, basically. That, you know, Ryan obviously wasn't sober for all of that. Imagine that. I mean, I wonder for Ryan if it was just like waking up from like a weird ass dream. Not the kid so much as like Mackenzie, you know?
I mean, I think that's definitely possible. I think he was just so disconnected from reality during those years. I mean, even just whenever he was filming, it was so obvious that he was just somewhere else all the time.
I feel like he started using like right around that Shelby right after her or something.
Yes.
I feel like he was already using when he met Mackenzie.
I think so too. Yeah, because I think that that's the only way. Not that I believe Mackenzie when she says that she had no idea that he was using and all of that, but I think that that's the only way that she can convince herself that she didn't have any idea because he was doing it the whole time. So it's just how she knew him all the time.
Yeah, and that's a real thing.
Can you stop? I don't think he was gonna stop for a while. He got Anne crying over
He
here.
wasn't gonna stop.
Did he look like he was gonna stop to you?
What is that? Where your mouse is? What the fuck is that?
This?
Yeah.
I was looking at this thing the whole time she was talking. I think it's just like the decoration, but
Oh, it's that's a scene. That's a murder.
oh my god, it's the people.
Yeah, I did not see those people
You know
before.
how they're like holding each other in the meme?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's for support. Like it's a
Support.
It's like a symbol for support, like
PCOS.
possible.
I don't know. I know she's got a PCOS award. Maybe that's it.
Maybe
Remember when she made us watch that speech?
it could be her PCOS award. Anyways, we have spent enough time on this family.
Moving on to our regular 9 to 5 girl, Cheyenne. She's back for her weekly paycheck.
She is. She is. I thought it was funny because her intro music, when we first saw her, it showed the outside of her house, and there was some kind of song playing about like, I've been so distant lately. And I was like, you have been, Cheyenne. Like, I actually missed you.
It's been a minute.
She's still struggling with the same thing. And I could understand probably wanting to take a little tiny bit off of filming if that's the case. I mean, I don't think they actually do these things in chronological order, but I think we all needed to give her a little space. And we come back and she has decided that she needs to talk to a relationship coach. So she talks to Zach for a minute. She says that she scheduled them an appointment for a couple days from then. In the MTV style, they show us a house and some trees, and then the next day arrives.
And we're talking to the relationship coach.
So Cheyenne did say that she was doing a lot of the pregnancy tests at this point just on her own, and she wasn't really talking to Corey about the pregnancy tests, and that was starting to kind of get to her as well because he wasn't really tapped into what was going on with her all the time. So that's something that they do talk about here in this coaching session, that she does want to talk about things, but he doesn't really want to talk about things, so that makes her not talk to him, and then she's sad. So he explains to them some things about attachment styles, and it seems like they're happy with hearing about something that could actually help. I think they just need to have a space to talk about this, and I think sometimes Zach will only talk about these things with a third party involved.
Yeah, or seems that way.
Sometimes it's a therapist, but sometimes it's just their family or their friends, which is funny because later on he says that he's dealt with her and he can put his sanity aside or whatever for a while if they end up going through IVF. It's like, I don't know if he really can deal with her. I always needed some other person in the room in order just to have a conversation with her, or you avoid her.
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know if he really knows that about himself, but got this other person in the room. They talked. They had a good session. They seemed pretty happy. They said that they were going to come back. But this is where Zach gets his therapy, I think mostly is from his family. So he talks to Cheyenne's dad, which I think that they have a really nice relationship. And Cheyenne's dad doesn't really like the quote unquote cowboy strategy that Zach is going with.
Yeah, well, Zach said he told her to stiffen up, little soldier kind of thing.
Yeah.
And her dad's like, doesn't need that. She needs to be consoled. Now that she knows your swimmers are swimming, you need to be a support for her. And as you decide you want to have a baby, you really just need your partner to be there and be supportive regardless.
Yeah.
And
even if it was him and his swimmers, like it's a two-person job. So I think it needs to stay that way no matter.
Yeah. And I think her dad was right on the money when he said that he needs to be lifting her up and making her feel better and just engaging in this more with her, because it seems like Zach approached this originally like he was the one that wanted the baby. And then now it almost seems like the tables have turned a little bit. Like he still wants it, but he's not as emphatic about it as he was on that family vacation. So I think what she wants is just for him to engage more about this pregnancy with her.
Yeah. I don't know what exactly is going on, obviously, in either one of their heads. But I think you're right about how the tables have kind of shifted a little bit and their desires have seemed to shift. I think a lot of that could have to do with the fact that the first time they got pregnant, it seemed to be relatively easy. And so that's, I think, what Zach was signing up for. And I don't think he really recognizes, even though it's right in front of his face, how hard it is for Cheyenne to be dealing with this. Because for her, it feels like this is what he said he wanted, and I'm a failure. And for him, I think he was signing up to try to make a baby and see what happens. And I think she's really attached to it now. Whereas I don't know if he would go through all of this if she wasn't so attached to that idea either. Yeah, I think they really have shifted or altered their perspectives in this a little bit, but this is something Cheyenne wants now and is committed to it. So he's going to have to uplift her and support her. Otherwise, it's going to just get worse.
Exactly. Or she's got to at least be able to feel like she can talk to you about these things without feeling like she's giving you nothing. I think that's what she feels like with these pregnancy tests, is that she's giving you nothing. So she feels down about it. I mean, it's hard not to feel down about it. It's harder for men because they're like, well, you're the one doing all this, so I don't know how to relate to you. But in the same time, it's not that we would need you to relate to us. It's need your support, and you feel like you're just present. Presence honestly means more sometimes than what people say.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. I think at the same time too, and not to blame people when they're hurting, but I think in Cheyenne's case, she needs to remember to be just involving Zach too. She kind of turned that off because it was hurtful. And so she needs to like, hey, I'm going to go take a pregnancy test. Why don't you sit in the bedroom and wait with me? Like she needs to talk to, but he needs to be available and not scared to talk.
Yeah. So I think he got a lot of great advice from Cheyenne's dad. And I think he listens really well to Cheyenne's dad because they kind of relate, just like Cheyenne was saying in a previous episode, that Zach was treating her a lot like her dad treats her. So how ironic that he's getting his best advice right here from Cheyenne's dad, who is just telling him based off his failed experiences that he felt he could have been doing more to uplift the women in his life when he was with them. I mean, if I'm going to see their storyline about this like all season, I'm glad I'm seeing at least this, because I think this is good advice for a lot of men out there. We think it's hard for men to try to put themselves in your shoes and they don't know how to do that. But I think just the small things, like just showing that you are there, that you're open to communication, that you be listening, shoulder to cry on, or, you know, just to be there to watch TV with or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be we're getting deep into this pregnancy stuff all the time. Like, just be a presence that feels comforting.
All the men in Cheyenne's storyline, including Zach most of the time, and especially now, maybe not so much in the past, but all the men in Cheyenne's storyline are top notch. They're all fantastic examples of fathers and partners now. I mean, I know Cheyenne's dad was divorced, but it seems like he really learned a lot from his divorce. He talks a lot about what he learned. That's all you can do when you make mistakes, is learn.
Just learn from it and you keep moving forward. As we keep moving forward, Zach took some advice.
He takes his lady on a date to uplift her.
And that makes him grateful.
All of it makes him grateful.
A little note on the mirror I thought was cute. The way she smiled at that, because you know that man don't do that.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that this whole scene was pretty cute. They do end up towards the end of it. They reflect on what the coaching was like and all of that, and what the process has been like for Cheyenne. And I don't think Zach said exactly the most perfect words, but I think he got there enough. It's really just about support. You don't need to say the best words. You don't need to know exactly what is right. You just have to show some kind of effort that you're trying and that you care. And I think that, again, that's enough for Cheyenne right now. It's kind of always been enough for Cheyenne. He got himself a job, and the very next day she was ready to have a baby. So just a little bit of effort. And Zach put in the little bit of effort. He did let her know. She's happy. They did kind of decide, it seems like, in this dinner that they were going to try IVF.
Right. But option number one ain't off the table for them either.
I don't think he gets it, though. And I think that's part of what she was trying to say, is she can't be waffling back and forth with birth control. Isn't that the first step in IVF, is to take birth control so that you get your cycles down right, so that they can...
I don't know. I think it will just depend on when they actually start that process. Maybe he just means now until they start that process, that they're just going to keep doing it.
I think it was more of like a joke, but again, I think it's also just kind of still like a highlight of how men don't really get it all the way.
Yeah. Zach's trying here. We got to give him
super duper trying. I'm not mad at this man at all.
The man literally said to her that he'll be able to deal with her mood swings, so it's okay to do this. Normally I would be like, I mean, that's not the best thing to say,
Well, and
but
he can't. Like, I'm sorry, but he can't. He needs a therapist or a coach or a family friend. He needs a phone a friend, some kind of lifeline every single time because we all remember when she left him outside in the streets and drove away from that man. Ever since then, he needs an effing lifeline, like a literal someone to save him.
life alert, a little life alert,
A life
Cheyenne.
alert, yes, a life alert or one of those things on the ships.
I am failing in my marriage and I cannot get up. And then Cheyenne's dad just shows up.
Or her stepdad. I mean, he's got good advice sometimes too.
Any of them. Every now and then you get Corey.
Every now and then you do get Corey. You know, he knew Cheyenne back when she was feisty.
I think Zach's known her longer, but anyways, go back to that picture of Cheyenne because them eyes that she be giving Zach over half of the wrong words but the effort. So we do appreciate the effort, Cheyenne. Look at her eyes.
I know. She's in love.
She's like, he can get it now.
We are gonna try.
She's like, he chicken scratched a note for me on my bathroom mirror. And then now we're here. He's wearing a sweater with
this is the minimal amount of effort that it takes for Zach to give to Cheyenne.
But to Zach, I feel like this is so much effort.
Probably.
Probably.
And I'm not saying my husband does this for me every day or anything like that. I mean,
No.
he put in his little effort. I'm not mad about that, but seems like he's been really dry for a while.
I think it's cute, but I also think that Zach is at a Calabasas level, okay? He is living in a Calabasas home. That's some kind of cute stuff maybe my husband would do, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, But it's like he's got so much access to so many bountiful things.
You want him to buy her a Ferrari that says I'm sorry?
No, but I think he could have, I don't know, just did something. Maybe he could have wore a nicer outfit. Like, I don't know. Like, there's something I feel like he could have did a little bit less regular.
Okay.
Here in Calabasas. Your kid goes to school with the Kardashians. I think you can get her like some flowers and some.
He's giving her IVF, Miss Anne. Don't you know how expensive that is?
He's giving her semen. She's paying for it with her dad's money and her money. That's her family money.
That's what I'm saying. So
it's all coming from Cheyenne's family money.
Exactly. What makes you think this man has more money than this for a date?
But the thing with Zach is when you get into that fine bougie lifestyle that you've always wanted, you gotta keep it. You got to do whatever means necessary to keep it. You can't be slacking here, sleeping on the couch, being whatever you were for those few years or whatever you were doing. You get this woman reassurance, whatever she needs. She's only asking for the bare minimum. You can do it, Zach. You got this. You made yourself Mr. Husband. You can keep your title, but you have to work for it emotionally.
Yes, emotionally.
And very, very little physically.
You heard it here first, Zach.
Just trying to help you. The rest of the world's tearing you down. I'm here.
Ant's here to support you. So is the Chick Chat community.
Yep, we're a support group.
Speaking of support groups.
Yeah, we're going to go over to the ringleader of support groups, Caitlin. She's actually talking about the real ringleader of support groups, Dr. Drew.
I know. We have the patient ringleader and the therapist ringleader coming together to have a session.
What a committee.
Yeah. So Tyler agrees that talking to Dr. Drew would probably be a good idea because they're still kind of reeling from this whole adoption thing. That's been their general storyline this episode. There's not a lot that goes on really with Cate and Tyler this episode. I truly feel like whenever we hear the conclusion to this Dr. Drew situation, they could have just put all of that in that episode and had them be segment A, because really all we get is they agree to have this meeting. They have this meeting. Dr. Drew asked Caitlin some tough questions about stuff going on the internet, which a lot of people have been implying and asking, but I do think it's important that Dr. Drew brings this up because I think this is the most understandable barrier and thing that's changed.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of us go to when we think of this. That's what makes sense.
Right. And it is possible that Carly's not seeing this stuff and that it doesn't have anything to do with this stuff. I know a lot of this stuff is in response to the argument that they've already had on the phone and things like that. So this is probably really more so just fueling the fire and fueling the boundaries. But at this point, Dr. Drew talks about how he wants to kind of be a mediator and he always feels like he has been for the last 16 years with them. And he's sad that it's come to this for Cate and Ty. He's sad for Brandon and Teresa. And if Carly is seeing even a little bit of this, he is sad for her too. So he offers, or I guess asks permission more. Cate and Ty obviously share that they have these regrets and things like that. But I think it's important that we focus on when they signed up and picked this family, They picked this family under the circumstances that they thought that they would have an open adoption. And the reason that they're acting the way that they are is because those things have changed. Again, nobody knows exactly why. And so that's what Dr. Drew was essentially trying to find out for them by asking permission to talk to Brandon and Teresa.
Well, it's difficult too because Brandon and Teresa originally did not want an open adoption. Right. And then when they found Caitlin and Tyler, they changed their minds, which it sounded like from their podcast episode that Brandon and Teresa had a different adoption fall through that was supposed to be a closed adoption before this.
A lot of times that happens too. People will sign up and they'll be ready, and then an adoption will fall through, and they're kind of like next on the list if a family comes. And so this can happen several times to people.
And it's sad for both people involved, really. I mean, I do feel bad for people like Brandon and Teresa who probably were just waiting for so long. In fact, the clip that they show in this episode is Teresa saying, we've been waiting for this baby for so long. We've been hoping and praying for this baby. So it's sad. I think there's obviously flaws in that system, and there are good people who want to be parents who can't be, and then there's also people who are struggling that would love to be parents, can't be, and then they feel the need to do this. It's a really sad thing. In fact, the last episode so far of Caitlin and Tyler that just came out, they're talking to somebody about the legalities of adoption. In fact, the last couple of episodes been pretty adoption heavy. So if y'all want to get a little bit deeper into that, definitely go check out those episodes.
We'd really love to cover them, and maybe someday we will cover some of them. I don't know if we'll necessarily go back.
Touch on a couple things.
But yeah, they're really, I don't know if entertaining is the word, but if you follow Cate and Ty's story, I think you would definitely find it an hour well spent.
Yeah, just give us a couple weeks. All these shows are wrapping up.
Yes.
Dr. Drew does tell them that he wants to speak to Brandon and Teresa. He asks for permission, and Caitlin and Tyler just kind of like, sure, they ain't talking to us. But I do find it weird if Brandon and Teresa, which it sounds like they did actually talk to Dr. Drew. Because I'm like, did y'all get paid for that or something? Because another thing that Tyler and Caitlin have mentioned on their podcast is that Brandon and Teresa, that they would sometimes get mad about posts because they couldn't get paid for it, or they would only do MTV stuff, or they would do visits because MTV was paying them or was paying for something. And I'm not saying that that's even a bad thing. I mean, honestly, if you're a regular person, I would want to make a little money off of some of that too. But I mean, we all got to make means to survive and live and everything. And they're not exploiting their daughter all the time. It seems like they're still trying to retain that privacy, but still make their coin. I mean, I can't be totally mad at that. But
yeah, I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. I mean, there's costs that are associated with being on
it's not
TV.
Always a good look, but it's not the worst thing either. What would you do if you had that kind of...
Yeah, I would ask for money and I would take the money. And if anyone asked me about it, I would tell them it's not any of their effing business. There's costs associated with being on TV, not financial costs, but your reputation and things like that. You have no idea how people are going to portray you. So yeah, take your money.
But I do think it's weird to not let the birth parents post photos because of money or whatever. I think that's weird. I think there's like a line with that. Like, yeah, the filming and all that, but the...
Yeah, I mean, I also am not sure if that's the whole reason either, because Carly's not really on social media, period. So I'm sure that is a part of the reason, but I think that there might be more to that.
True. When Dr. Drew gets his permission, I mean, you could just tell that man the whole time just wanted to ask that, like, can I just get involved? Can I just talk to them?
He was just itching to talk to Brandon and Teresa. Yeah.
I wish it was filmed. I would love to see an interview.
Yeah, I have a feeling it won't be, but...
It's not, I'm sure, but...
Yeah.
They probably got paid for it.
They probably got paid for it so that they could probably tie up the storyline here pretty soon with Cate and Ty, with whatever it is that they have to say. And I think if they did talk to Dr. Drew when he reached out, I hope that they did, first of all. And I think whatever is said, I think that this is a good thing, because Cate and Ty need clarity right now. They're not in a position where they're, I think, even able to stop. I think willing is a whole other thing. I don't think Cate is able to stop talking about this. I think she has convinced herself of a lot of things, and I don't know if those things are true or not, but I think she doesn't think that this is Carly at all. I think she thinks it's Brandon and Teresa, and she has a story that she needs to get online over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I think somebody, if it is hurting Carly, somebody needs to stop her. Somebody that is aware.
Yeah, I think he does know something. She talks to Dr. Drew. She sends him a text and asks if there is any update. And he responds with, hey, do you think we can meet up sometime this week? not answering her question at all. So that's a good sign that he
Yes.
probably talked to Brandon and Teresa and he's got some news. And whether or not this is news that they want to hear or not, it's still good for them to hear because it can at least get them in a direction of moving forward, whether they have to grieve in that process. They're going to have to control their own emotions because at the end of the day, they're not the children in the scenario anymore. They were, and I can always feel for that situation, but now they are adults as well.
Yeah,
So
they
in
have
their
to be
30s.
responsible.
Yeah, especially if this is a Carly driven thing, because if it's a Carly driven thing, you really have to keep all that in check.
Totally.
And that's also why I probably wouldn't even risk the whole internet thing, but teach their own.
I wonder what emoji that is. I thought it was a heart at first, but I think it's a doctor.
It's the sunglasses.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty dark, but it could be a doctor. She thinks he's a cool guy. Another funny part in their scenes that we didn't actually touch on, but I thought was hilarious, was when they were in the kitchen. Yeah, and Tyler's making chili, and Kate's like, "What you making?" He's like, "Chili." She's like, "You want chili on your willy?" And Nova out of nowhere is like, "That's just the weirdest thing." And Keelan's like, "Oh, sorry." It was so like my aunt. Like I was like,
so I don't know if I just say it's so Michigan because they just have Michigan accents, but it just feels so Michigan. Like the way he walked in the door and it was like, "Hello," whenever we always do that. It's like, "Where's my wife? She's gone." Oh yeah, I just love them. I could watch them on a whole show. I think that's why I like their podcast so much. I know right now they have been pretty adoption heavy, but I mean that doesn't bother me too much. But I would just like to watch them live sometimes too.
I like to just think they're just making up for the decade that they couldn't really talk that much about it.
Very true. They do have a lot to say, and I do not blame them.
It's always been really minimal what they would say, and it was usually supportive. It's just interesting to see how they truly felt all these years and the changes and how fast it really changed for them, because it seems like just a couple of years into their adoption, they started feeling the feels. I probably around the time she turned 5, which is when the visits, everything kind of became more apparent then that this isn't like, I'm not in the driver's seat of my adoption. Remember, that's what Dawn said. You're in the driver's seat.
Yeah. They were in the driver's seat until that baby came out of them, and then they lost all control.
Then they were pushed out the car. Sometimes the car comes back around, visits them, and it goes away. Like a bus stop now.
Exactly.
I miss the bus a lot.
I know.
We're going to get a conclusion from them next week, but I hated that for me. I was like, oh, of course they're going to push this to the next week because they know I need this.
No, I had a feeling that they were going to do that, and I think that will probably conclude their storyline.
But Bree kept me so entertained this episode that I wasn't too mad. I could have just watched Bree segment this entire episode and been completely satisfied.
I agree. I think that this was hilarious. I think the antics of this episode were very entertaining. It was just enough of crazy Roxanne, just enough of practical and good parenting. It was just enough of her sister's weird influence of chaos. It was all good. I loved everything about Bree's storyline. And it starts off with Stella talking to Bree about how there were some kids that were outside kissing on school property, and Bree was just flabbergasted that they were on school property when they were kissing. And it's like, where else do you think a lot of these things happen? I mean,
where were you, girl?
Yeah, she is asking Nova especially, but all of them, if they learn anything about sex ed or anything like that. Shirley just blurts right out, she's like, "Y'all know have sex ed?" And Nova's like, "No." She's so offended every time sex gets brought up, as any 13-year-old is.
Well, they're in Florida, so I don't expect them to really have sex ed in the classroom. I wouldn't put that on the school, you guys. Don't do that.
Well, not solely on the school.
Exactly. That's my point. I'm not saying that the school shouldn't have those things available, because there are some people who just don't have access to it at all. So the school should have something. But
that should be the bare minimum.
Yeah, if you're an involved parent, you shouldn't leave that on the school at all. Like, you should definitely have the conversation. Because if you just leave it on the school, I remember I had health class and half the time I'm paying attention in class. Yeah, sometimes you're just chuckling at everything.
So awkward. Like, what are you going to look like if you're just on the edge of your seat when we're learning about the things that we're learning about in health class? I mean, it's not fun. It's not a comfortable environment. There's no trusted adults around. It's actually horrible. Like, I mean, I still think it should happen. I still think there should be exposure to these things in school, especially about like STIs and those kinds of, like, the truth and fact and that kind of stuff of it. But I think, just like Bree was talking about with this lady, that there needs to be a trusted adult that they feel like they can have these conversations with. So yes, it should be there. But like you said, it should just be the very basics, because if you're a responsible parent, you should be talking to your kids about this. On the other hand, I think we all think that, and then we have a teenager in front of us, and it probably
Really?
sounds like an insurmountable, disgusting, weird, awkward task. And I think a lot of times we just find better things to do.
Right.
And then
But
bam, you're a grandparent.
that was gonna say, but you take a risk.
Mm-hmm.
Brianna calls Brittany and they start talking about this, and Brittany is in Japan. Her lashes were on point for just waking up or whatever the hell she's doing. She has the idea to get this doll, which we were talking about last episode, like what the hell could have gotten over here, but
Brittany.
it was Brittany, Auntie Britt. So Brittany says that this doll is the reason why she didn't have kids in high school and why she told boys to stay the hell away from her. And I have seen some comments where people are like, she's rewriting history because she got in shishmortion at the same time that Brianna was pregnant. But you guys do realize she's 3 years older than Brianna. So she didn't get pregnant in high school. She got pregnant when she was 19 or so. And
Right.
Brianna was 16.
Yeah.
And I do wonder a little bit if part of the reason why she got this misfortune, other than this baby doll, because I do think that might have had something to do with it.
I do too.
Now that we're here.
Yeah,
But-
you know what you signed up for.
But I wonder if another part of it was just that as an older sister, she might have felt that Brianna wanted to keep hers, and knowing the situation that they were actually in with 3 women living in a small space, they couldn't have handled 2
there
babies.
can only be one.
Because she did stay home. I mean, you got to remember when we were watching those older seasons, Brittany was a babysitter for Brianna while she was at school.
Oh,
So Brittany wasn't in school.
yeah, definitely.
So she kind of put all that on hold to raise her niece.
It seems like I think Brie just wouldn't do that, and I think
Mhm.
Brittany can.
Mhm.
Like some people just can't, even if they believe in it, they just can't. And I think
Mhm.
Brittany can't. So I think maybe it's possible that it was a decision that
Yeah.
contributed to that decision.
I think a lot of things must have, but I do think this baby did.
I think so too.
And Brianna was like, I didn't get that baby. And Brittany's like, we've got the real one.
Like, that's exactly the point. So Brie has a meeting with, it's called Power to Decide, and she's talking to a doctor about how to talk to Nova about this for the first time. And I thought that this doctor gave really good, clear advice that she could talk to Nova about. All of it, I think, was pretty age appropriate. They talked about like consent, they talked about protection, facts, pregnancy, those kinds of things, which I think at this age, like you really need to know all of it.
Yeah. I think this is really smart of Brianna, especially because she's so nervous to do it on her own. I think it's smart for her to get advice from a professional. Couldn't help but notice though the matching walls here. Like, are they in the same room? They're just
Don't think so.
like across from each other.
Oh, that's really funny. It's a color. I mean, it's pretty much the color I have too. It's just
Everybody's got them damn walls. Look at
don't
you.
they call it like millennial gray or something? It's just everybody has it.
Then she decides to let Roxanne know it is time. It's time for the generational confrontation of sex. So let's hit her with the generations.
Let's give it a whirl. So she says she needs her mom here. I mean, her mom has been here for every pivotal moment in Nova's life. Why not this one as well? So she pops on over. So glad that Roxanne is feeling better these days.
Although part of me wishes it was Brittany instead of Roxanne. I think this would have been so much funnier.
Well, I think Brittany would be there right alongside all of them if she was in the country for sure.
True. But Roxanne, it was like she's the hype man in a rap song. Yeah,
she was. Yeah, she was. And most of them were fine, so it's okay. But she totally was like Brie's hype man. Every once in a while, like, yeah, okay, and
penetration. Random definition words. Yeah.
I know.
Brie calls Nova in and she says, "So Nova, you're growing up fast. What do you know about sex?" And Nova's like, nothing. Like she didn't know anything. And I love how innocent little Nova is. The more that conversation went, I believed her. She was asking, what is semen?
I didn't believe her that she didn't know nothing about nothing. But I think these technical words she probably really doesn't know. They don't have health class like that.
Yeah. And she is just newly 13. So this might not be.
She doesn't know what comes out of if she. No.
She don't know the action of it. Brie had to describe it pretty intently. She had to describe exactly what goes into what, how what works. And
I think everyone should. Even if your kid says, yes, I know what this is, then you should ask them what it is all the way down to those graphics for them to say it out of their mouth, because there's just so much manipulation that can happen around this. And so I just think it's really important, especially for girls, to know exactly what is what. Otherwise, you're not actually consenting. Because people can just say this is that and this is what that means, and it's not actually X. It's only X if you're doing this or whatever. I mean, a lot of boys make up all kinds of weird rules about it to try to get girls to go as far as they think they can. I think this was probably the best sex talk that we have seen on
Mackenzie could definitely took a lot of notes from this.
Honestly. I know that Nova, she's pretty quiet and she tends to listen well, and that probably does help. She seemed comfortable enough to sit and tolerate what Brie was telling her, but I think Brie actually did really well. I think she moved the conversation along quickly, but also gave all the information that needed to be given.
And made sure she understood. Do you understand what we're talking about? And Roxanne piping in every now and then was very entertaining for me.
Killed me. This is when she was doing the banana thing, and just how intently these two are watching her put this thing on this banana, especially Roxanne.
Roxanne, like she's never seen it before. It was when she pulled out the condom originally. Noah was like, "How do you just have one of those?" Like she wasn't planning this talk. You know, Brie bought that box for this talk. Your mom hadn't used one of those in a while. That's how you got your sister.
It is
because she didn't have one of those.
So Nova, she says she understands. Doesn't have any more questions, ready to walk away. Yep. And little does she know she is not done talking about this.
She's not ready to walk away just yet. But what was funny was once they do decide that the conversation is done, Stella runs in and Brie grabbed that banana so fast and hit it.
It's like right under this pillow right here. And she brings her this drawing of a crown, and upside down, if you look at it, Brie said, "What is that?" And she said, "It's a bone.
It's a broken bone that looks like a male part." Yeah. She's like, "Look, your sister drew it for you. That's what it looks like."
I could not imagine.
The irony in this whole segment was just amazing. And then we fast forward over to this baby simulator, which I did not catch how much they cost. I was trying to figure that out when I was watching, when she was scrolling, but I couldn't really tell. I would love to do this to my child one day. I think every parent should do this. This should be an at-home project, even if the schools don't do it. Every kid should have to be forced to do this baby thing.
Especially boys.
Especially boys. Yeah, so the baby comes in and Nova gets home from school and Brianna explains to her that now she is part of an experiment. Nova just learned about sex like a day ago and now she's going to have to simulate being a mom. Like, this is
Brie goes, "Remember that conversation we had the other day? Mm-hmm. Here you go. Just want to make sure I'm really highlighting the point here."
So then we get Bartholomew. Jesus.
Barthy. I was calling him Barthy.
I just love how Nova immediately had a name on hand.
She's probably been waiting for a pet. This is the closest thing she's gonna get.
I love when they were opening the box and Stella's like, "I hope it's a girl." And Nova's like, "I hope it's not annoying." I'm like, "Brianna, you're gonna need to do this with Stella in a couple years for sure."
And both of those hopes were crushed. It was a boy and it was annoying. So Nova is tasked with caring for this robotic child. Apparently it has to be held certain ways. It's going to cry like 40-something times over the course of the next, or 20-something times over 48 hours. I don't know. And she has to log every single time that she takes care of it and what she's doing and how she felt and what she did and all of that. She's exhausted already the first night.
She said this is more work than schoolwork right now. I mean, it is in real life too. So I'm glad you're getting this experience. But she shows her friend, baby Bartholomew Devoyne de Jesus II, and she shows her friend this care log and all.
The entire time, annoyed, tired, annoyed, tired, annoyed, tired, annoyed. February 28th, 2024. So this was over a year ago.
So far, it's worked.
So far.
But her friend's just kind of like, so we gotta take that thing with us. And she said, "I begged, girl."
I begged and pleaded, but here we go.
So Brianna takes the girls out bowling, and half the time this baby is crying.
On the floor of a bowling alley. And then after Nova picks this baby up off the floor of the bowling alley, she puts it on the floor of the car. And then when it's crying, she just whips it out in the middle of traffic to feed it.
Brianna's like, "Well, in real life, we wouldn't be doing it." And she's like, "Wow,
annoyed now. All you've been doing is bringing this thing around like a purse that yells. You know, it's not like you've been actually doing anything to care for this baby. Not that I want her to really suffer. You've just been plopping it on the ground and then shoving keys into it."
The purse that cries. For real though. Bree's like, "Well, we wouldn't do this in real life." And I was like, "Well, what do you expect me to do?"
Bree's like, like we'd have to pull over because it's not safe.
Or we just let it cry till we get where we
Yeah,
need to go.
and then you're really gonna feel tired and annoyed.
Nova was annoyed the moment Brianna set her down for that damn sex talk. She was like, damn it, I'm gonna be in a whole experiment now.
Sure,
She saw those
everything.
cameras in the living room, and then once her mom said, what do you know about sex? Nova's just like,
She's like, fuck.
but
So Nova's learned her lesson.
having a kid's hard, so hard I can't hold it right.
She's treating this thing like a fucking purse that yells.
She does not want this baby. I loved this so much more just because I want nothing to do with this.
She was amazing. I texted Anne when we were watching this and I said, Nova's a star. She said, are you trying to make a joke? I said, oh my God, no.
Nova's quite literally a star.
She is a star. And so is Bartholomew.
She's like, can't say I'm sad to see this thing go in a couple days.
I think this is the most she's held it the whole time is right here when she made it say goodbye. That's the most interaction she's had with that thing.
Even when you saw her get up in the middle of the night, she like grabs it, just sits on the bed, and just changes it, and then just sits there.
It's like a
She doesn't actually hold it.
I know. And then they had her walking out of the bowling alley with it, and she's holding him like this.
I hope she really don't end up pregnant. She won't be just like her daddy.
I know. Disappeared.
That was the most brilliant idea. I really hope other teen moms on the show do it too, because I'd love to see all the kids do this. Give one to Bentley. I'd love to watch that too. Give one to Leah. Give one to the girls.
The girls need their own.
Yeah, give them twins.
Mm-hmm. Give the girls
both a set of twins.
Yes.
There'll be 4 little babies in that house. So this way they can really feel what Leah felt. Honestly, I would be shocked if Leah doesn't do this with the twins.
I wouldn't either. No, it's not impossible for one of them to have twins. I know it usually skips a generation, but it doesn't always. It's still hereditary.
I mean, they're fraternal twins. That's genetic, so that can just go right down to generation. There was a set of fraternal twins in my grade, and because it was a girl-boy twin. And when the girl twin got pregnant in high school, she had a set of fraternal girl twins. So it really can just go one to the next.
Definitely. Well, next time, Bree, I don't know if she's getting her tubes tied next time, but she's talking to Jade about it, and Jade does agree to help her. I think she is getting her tubes tied because it looks like she has some post-op things going on.
Jade needs to help her to make up for that damn body work she did, and Brianna saved her ass.
So part of me feels like the little post-op, like it looked like they had Bree standing outside of a car yelling or something, like she was in pain, and I almost felt like she was making it up just to play a prank on Jade for how bad everything went.
Jade needs to do this to make up for that. If I was Brianna, I'd be having her come to my next 3 or 4 surgeries, because that
honestly
brutal.
I'd be booking surgeries just for Jade to come suffer. Ellie said she's really struggling with muscular dystrophy as she gets older and realizes that the people that are supporting her don't actually have muscular dystrophy, so nobody can really relate to what she's going through. They can all just really be there to support her. So Leah finds her another girl her age who has muscular dystrophy, and they connect on the phone. So I'm excited to see how that goes. I hope that begins a real friendship, even if they're not best friends. I think it'd probably be nice for them to just have someone they can reach out to. It's sort of like the teen mom, have this really unique experience, and they don't always hang out all the time, but they can really relate to each other. I think it'd kind of be like that.
I think it'd also be good to maybe hook her up with a couple of adults too, to see how their experience is.
That they can like give some hope in that way, that they're functioning well. Jade is late on her period. I feel like this is the 4th or 5th time that they've teased this for us, so who knows if we're even going to see Jade next weekend. Bar is going to take a plea deal, and he's going to get out on time served, so it seems like Bar is going to be out of jail next episode. Ashley is talking to her little friend, and they clarify amongst each other that they don't have a romantic relationship anymore, her and Bar. So they wonder what that's going to be like for Bar to accept now that he is not behind bars.
Seems like they haven't had one in like over a year at this point. So I think he'll be fine, right? And they have a whole other girl. The only thing that sucked for him was seeing her grind up on another dude on Instagram. That made him go over maybe a couple of too many hits or something as well. I don't think he's going to be too hard struggling. I mean, they haven't been together. So it's not like he's going off of some hope or anything.
Yeah, but I think he probably has some kind of hope in his mind that once he's out, he could probably rekindle something. I think
didn't he have a girlfriend the whole time?
A girlfriend versus a wife. I mean,
no, I don't know if it's the right tree to bark up anymore. I think that's a tree that's been.
I agree, but I just think those two are toxic. All right, Chick Chat. Well, don't forget to like this video. We only have, I think, 2 more episodes left.
And we need 10 more subscribers if you want to help us get to our 900 subscriber goal.
pretty pleased with sugar on top. But either way, if you're already subscribed, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to comment. Tell us how you feel, what you thought of the video, how funny you thought that everything was with Nova. Have you ever had a baby simulator? What was your experience like with that? Because I would really like to hear about it. Have you ever gotten one for your child? Like, I just want to know all your experiences. So let us know
where
that.
can we go to find these for our
Yeah, where do you go? Where's the best baby simulators located at for our future children?
Have you ever used a baby simulator in class or anything?
No, and I had a home economics class. Like, we learned how to cook and whatever, but we never had a baby. And I had health class. I had all of that, but no baby simulator.
Yeah, I wish we would have, but we never did either. Or the egg thing, but I think the baby simulator is a lot cooler than the egg thing.
I think so too.
Anyways, thank you for joining us, Chick Chat. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, Rihanna, and goodbye. Oh my God. Keep our thoughts.